Greetings, everybody, and welcome to That Game Place. That's right. Thank you for your patience. We were, I don't know, half a minute late, but I promise it'll be worth it. We've got at least almost a dozen stories ready to go today, and we've got a great panel to go through them with you. And for those of you that are here for the first time, this is That Game Place Live. We are a little conversation about the stories of the day going on in the gaming world, and whether or not we are agreeing with the authors or not, we're going to give you our perspective, and it's going to be based out of a kind of a fun reality. And of course, if you're coming over from WDW Pro, thanks for joining us today. We are going to get started, but I would be remiss if I did not introduce the amazing panelists that we always have with us, including Jonas J. Campbell, Stone Cold Loki, and Nolan Thunder. Good morning, gentlemen. I guess good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Epic. All right. Well, I like that. We have positive attitudes all around, as well as firm handshakes. Speaking of which, we also have our very first super chat. So I want to say thank you to, let's see, King of the Monsters, 1954 for $2 worth of tokens. Woohoo! That gameplays time. Hell yeah. Indeed. Yeah. I felt like I was going to step into Slim Jim there, but I did.
Speaking of which, is it not? Has it recently? It was Godzilla's 70th birthday. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah. Yes, just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't look a day over 30.
You can get your Godzilla 70th anniversary merch and all kinds of cool stuff. I got the King Ghidorah hoodie because
that's so beautiful.
It is, right? Yeah, Loki gets all the cool stuff. He's a good kid. He got the good stuff. But we got some great folks out there. Look at you all. Hello and good afternoon. All right. We've got a ton of stories, Jonas. We also have a thing that we do here on the channel that I don't know that a lot of other channels do. I'm very proud of us. We keep track of those who support the channel with our very own little score box here. It's what I call the high score rack. And let me tell you, it's November. It's all question marks. That's right. So we have the platinum supporter, which will be the overall supporter of the month. Gold supporter, and silver and bronze are all for each stream. And it's just there to honor the contributors that help keep the show going. And will hopefully get us to the point where we're going to do some competitive gaming where you can laugh at us. It'll be a lot of fun. You can also start to count on us more and more frequently for game journalism. You'll be seeing even more videos. And I blame me for not having more already. Anyway, thank you for checking that out. Let's get on with the first story. So as not to bury the lead, Jonas, we have this weird situation with this narrative group. It's called Sweet Baby something or another.
Bowser. Bowser, I do believe.
Sweet Bowser? Sweet Bowser?
Yes.
Anyway, they have made partnerships and such with other organizations that now seem to be running away scared. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this. The Powell Group deletes all of its associations with Sweet Baby Inc. from LinkedIn and its website. So basically anywhere that they have, jettisoned affiliation. Can you blame them?
No, in any way. This is a fascinating thing to me because Sweet Baby Inc., of course, wanted to strong-arm people in the first place into working with them. And Campbell basically talked about if your marketing person doesn't understand why you need to do this, take them out to lunch and basically tell them how bad it's going to be for them if they don't use a narrative consultant group like Sweet Baby Inc. Of course, after it came to light what Sweet Baby Inc. is, they then said, no, that's not at all what we do. We only give suggestions, that it's up to the people that we talk to whether or not the game developer wants to do that. We don't have a lot of power. We just make suggestions. And I really feel like it should be done like in it would be a real shame if something happened to your video game. Those kind of suggestions.
Yeah, but this is kind of much worse, right? And look, we're going to read the story. This is from That Park Place by John F. Trent over there. And this was just yesterday. that this story broke. So the Powell Group deleted its announced associations with Sweet Baby Inc. on both its LinkedIn account and on its website after it was discovered and publicized that the company had partnered with Sweet Baby Inc. There it is right there before it went bye-bye. Amazing. YouTuber Master of the TDS, congratulations to those two over there for Gothic Therapy. Discovered the partnership and shared a video. They're not just partnering with Sweet Baby Inc. They are going to help Sweet Baby Inc. reach a wider market and be able to appeal to more studios, more gamers, more companies under a name that's more trusted in the industry. Well, not anymore. I mean, I don't know. Guys, Loki, do you trust Powell now? You think Powell's a good group? You think people are going to trust them anymore?
I think it's a good idea to get as far away from Sweet Baby Inc. as possible, but no, for the people that know, for the gamers that keep up to date with everything that's going on and always have their nose to the grindstone when it comes to information about where all these problems are coming from, no, I don't think it'll matter at all.
Yeah. What do you think, Nolan? Nolan, do you think that this is going to help or hurt Powell going forward?
I think it can help their cause. We've seen before Sweet Baby Inc. is just pure, it's like an infection. The more things it labels on, it's just going to tank your sales. I mean, I can't think that I think the folks behind Powell must have some sort of logic. I mean, I saw behind her, there was a cute cat back there, so they can't be completely evil. So I think they probably took some advice and were like, hey, it's going to make us look bad, so get out of here.
Well, and what's amazing is, and I think Jonas will appreciate this, is that how short this team up seemed to have lasted, because the Powell Group seemed to have announced its partnership with Sweet Baby Inc. in a post on LinkedIn about a week ago, stating, "We believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development. We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to best bring your story to life. Our approach leads with the creation of joyful and authentic experiences. We seek to be additive, not just corrective." You think that's a good tagline, Jonas?
No, I think that says that they know what they are, and they're a, what's the word, sensitivity reader. Someone that is supposed to go in and see all the problems that could be there. And the problem with sensitivity readers is eventually you run out of problems and they move on to things that are not problems and create problems in order to fix them, whether or not they mean to do it. And if you go past that, then you're a grifter. It's my personal belief. This is not necessarily the belief of that game place or that park place. It's my personal opinion that Campbell is probably just a grifter who's trying to make as much money as possible. So before the ship sinks.
Yeah, and I would say the ship is sinking rather quickly. So from there, it went into details that its partnership allows developers to reach a bigger audience, tell news stories, and represent empathetically. It declares...
Every time, Culture, reach bigger audiences. It seems like their audiences are shrinking instead of reaching bigger audience. It's always that tagline. You're going to reach bigger audiences if you do what we tell you to do. And those audiences seem to be getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, that's a wonderful observation. You're 100% right. It seems like if you do partner, if you're a major studio and you partner with one of these groups, specifically Sweet Baby Inc., you seem to kill your audience almost immediately. But jumping back in, they say, "We believe that representation is key to connecting players and audiences." Well, you've demonstrated exactly the opposite. But appeal to wider reach of players with more inclusive storytelling. All evidence to the contrary. Again, we tackle narrative and character in any form, keeping emotional resonance and authenticity at the heart of our work. They use authenticity an awful lot. We seek to spark joy in marginalized players, elevate real human experiences, and foster empathy within your game. Foster empathy. Interesting.
It's the marginal. Why not all players? Just all players. We want all players to have a good time. Why is it always, oh, we need marginalized players. Oh, we need players that feel like they are not represented. Why not all players? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that statement? That they hate half of us.
It's hard to say, honestly, and it's more than a little frustrating. And I appreciate the work that Master of the TDS did on this by pointing out that the company's sensitivity consulting webpage featured a number of colored blocks in front of the Sweet Baby Inc. logo and reiterated what the company is now providing. We believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development. We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to best bring your story to life, who freely admit that they hate you. Look, Nolan, have you ever experienced a game that's been touched by these consultancy groups that you felt proud to play or you felt interested to buy, or any of those emotions?
No, because every time I see the stuff they're working on, before I even know, like, look it up, find out, are they attached? Which, as we've seen in the past, they seem to not want to. They want to shut down anything that identifies that they're connected to a project, which is extremely shady for a company. But no, I usually know prior to even the purchase because I just see the trailers and I'm just like, there's nothing more that unifies gamers, and that can be a broad spectrum of different backgrounds, identifications, all that. Nothing unifies a group more than good games. When it comes to gamers, good products that get people excited. These type of games, I'm always like, I see it on the shelf. I'm like, well, that looked like it was expensive to make, and I just have no desire to pick it up. It's already rough enough right now trying to get some money for the asking price for some of these games, especially if you want to get DLC involved with it. And by the time I see the first trailer, I'm just like, you completely lost me, because you don't want to take any time in making fun designs or ideas that we can all get behind as a group. There's no compromise from them. It's only what they want. And I don't like that.
Yeah, I think that's a real problem. And I think a lot of these consultancies are learning that rapidly. Jonas, the Powell Group, do you think they're going to, hang out with Sweet Baby Inc. very much in the future?
I hope not. To me, this is a lesson that needs to be learned. And I think that sensitivity consulting needs to go away. People need to just tell their stories. Play without limits, isn't that, or play has no limits. That's the tagline for Sony at this point. And it seems to be play by committee, seems to be what's actually going on there when we talk about Sweet Baby Inc. and people like this. I get it. Things are offensive, but you know what? When things are offensive, it doesn't actually affect sales that much anymore. And it's kind of baked into some of the products here. In fact, Duke Nukem, the entire point of Duke Nukem was that it was offensive. And for a very long time, it sold, I'm going to say, pretty well. It's maybe a little outdated now, and we've moved on to different offensive things. Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously gangbusters, and not my kind of game anymore. I kind of backed out of that area as I got kids and grew up a little bit more. I'm not judging anybody else here, but the more we're hearing about Grand Theft Auto 6, they are removing the marketability of that game by getting away from things that are offending to people. So it just seems like they're asking people to make their product less marketable, less notable, and just be this blah mix of blending of HR approved topics. And really, when it comes down to it, and I had a conversation with Spencer. We're not going to say what game it was I was talking about with Spencer for a very specific reason, but all of the dialogue in this game that definitely had Sweet Baby Inc. involved, it was as if they were speaking in front of their mothers and their bosses the entire time in this game. So boring.
Yeah.
I follow up what you were saying there, Jonas. Like, it reminds me, I think back so often to like the marketing for like PlayStation and such in the 90s. They really went after that, rave house party type environment. It's all about play these games your mom wants to take away from you. There's literally old commercials you can find that were literally that exact thing. They would market as your mom hates this game. nowadays, I think that's a reason why a lot of Western games don't appeal to a lot of like those more old school gamers, myself included. Is it looks like it's so like we've checked every box that is safe for if you're, going to work or something like that. Whereas this used to be, it's like, hey, you definitely don't want to bring up some of these topics when you're at work because it's stuff that was a bit inappropriate. And now instead they're making stuff that's inappropriate for our wallets. It's comedy at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And again, I mean, Veridark pointed out on the 3rd of November that the Powell Group basically cut all ties with them. They got rid of them very quickly with this. Let me ask this question then, Loki. Do you think that a lot of these types of groups are going to have to obfuscate what they actually do now, or do you think that they've finally been called out and are being, they're being identified, and as such, they are going to start receiving any boycotts with anything they help produce? What do you think? Is that a possibility?
I think one of the main things to remember is it's not just Sweet Baby. Get what Jonas and what Nolan were just talking about. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, they found a way to crack into the game, and they found this little portion of the game that nobody knew about. It was called the hot coffee experience. And because of that, they locked those games behind the counter, and you had to show your ID and prove you were 21 years old just to get a copy. Now, mind you, this is not something that you could just go into the Xbox and hack. This was something that you could hack on the PS2 and you could hack the PC version of it, but you had to hack it. You had to actually know what you were doing and figure out how to hack into the game to access this thing that they cut from the game. When that happened, Rockstar threw a fit and said, look, it's not like you can even access this in the game. It's a piece of cut content that we locked away. They were the ones saying, why are you having such a big deal about this? And they eventually had to patch it out and make sure you couldn't access it. And at the time, they said this is absolutely ridiculous. Now these companies are doing this willingly. We find out that Squaresoft's being told you've got to do this and you've got to do this and you've got to cut this out of your games. We find out that Rockstar is doing things internally. It's not just Sweet Baby Inc. and companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Because if the developers are doing this and they're doing it willingly and they've got their own people advocating for it at the studio, then it's a studio issue. Just like what we had with Dragon Age recently, Veilguard, just like we've had with a lot of other games recently. It's not just Sweet Baby. It's the people working for them. And when you find out that they're getting loans, they're getting better loans for working with Sweet Baby in these companies, it's ridiculous. They found a way to infiltrate, and now it has to be cleaned out. Otherwise, it's just going to keep getting infected over and over and over again.
Yeah, I agree with you. And look, just to sum this up, Powell Group not only got rid of that one post, they got rid of anything mentioning Sweet Baby Inc. And I think they did that out of self-preservation. Jonas, I'll give you the last word on this one. Do you think anybody's going to learn these lessons? And do you think Powell Group is like the first to realize what they stepped in?
Powell Group, I've never heard of them before this. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and admit that now. I think that if this was a move to hide Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement and try to merge in with another company here, I hope that everyone is paying attention to just how much gamers hate this. And it's not a Chud's thing. It's not there is a dislike for certain people. Okay, if you find out that Anita Sarkeesian is on the narrative consultancy for a video game, that shows that they have bad judgment in what appeals to gamers. I personally don't care whether or not we've got some female characters butt in your face the entire time that you're playing in a third person perspective, but it does get pretty distracting when every single female character looks really ugly, and that same haircut that ends up on all the female characters, it's becoming cliched, it's becoming boring, and people play video games to escape. I don't need to turn on Legend of Zelda and think, why in the world does Zelda look like she is going through a hard time right now? I don't need to log into Fortnite and see how virtuous the people who made the game are. This is boring. It's nanny state kind of stuff, and gamers hate it. We can only rant on it so many times before we have to move on to the next thing. But I hope that Powell Group learns their lesson, and that anyone wanting to work with Sweet Baby Inc. realizes the deficit that this brand commands. They want it to be a brand that commands respect, and instead, the more we learn about these people, the more we learn that they're a bunch of hypocrites that want to tell you what's wrong with the way you live your life, but meanwhile talking about some pretty dirty things on some podcasts. So forgive me, all of my patience for Sweet Baby Inc. gone.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what most gamers think as well. But we don't have to actually wait for that. We've got some great super chats. Jonas, I'm going to bring in another special guest, and we can get through some of these
It's
supers.
me!
It's Spencer.
The downfall of Sweet Baby Inc. continues.
Yeah, and you know what? You're doing a great job documenting that as well. So thank you for that. We'll get to one of your stories.
It's a team effort. It's all of us here, right?
That's right.
I'm not gonna take care of it. We got you. We got Loki. We got Noah. We got Jonas. We got Park Place. We got Culture Show. We got everything. Everybody's doing it. Hey, Loki's in the mornings.
Well,
Nolan covers more mysteries than drama, so I can't shout him out here.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're gonna catch you up as we catch up with the super chats, and then we've got a story coming from Spencer here that we're gonna get to in just a couple of minutes. First up, though, we've got one coming in from Jonas. You want to take the?
Oh, absolutely, I can. Tennille89. Hey, Tennille. I understand what happened on the pro show, and I just want to apologize to you that we didn't get to your super chats as quickly as we probably should have. So I want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming here to That Game Place. You mean a lot to us, and also I'm sorry that things worked out the way that they did. Tennille89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $5. Forgive me for repeating this line culture, but another problem is that SBI's business model is to break your window and sell you glass. Ooh,
well said.
That's brilliant. And you are correct. That's exactly what they do, which is weird. Why would you hire somebody to break your window and then sell me glass? I mean, that seems dumb. So no, it's a great way of putting it. I think
seems mafioso like.
And even so. Yeah.
Right, that's the other
go ahead.
That's the other aspect of there's the broken windows policing idea, but the broken window fallacy in economics of, well, if we break the window, it will stimulate the economy because they wouldn't have broken the window, and now they have to pay to break the window. So the window maker is then able to shop at your store.
It's bizarre.
They're basically what it is. What's funny enough is the broken window fallacy is used to sell tarp, which is Samuel Maine. There's a early 2000s policy joke for you. Samuel Maine for $3, a pair, giving a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Samuel Maine. We appreciate you. Tennille89 with his 10th super chat for $2. Old school gamer, heaven help me. I'm 35 going on 78. Oh, I appreciate it. Jacob Foxfires for $10. Oh, they're inclusive. Why not include women that are beautiful, cute, or feminine? Oh, wait, I forgot. They hate women. Clear as day with Veilguard in the bio of a they them.
Yeah, it's not about inclusivity. It's about getting back at all the people they didn't like in high school. That's all it is. That's literally what it is. So they're gonna go, oh, we want to be included so that they can be in the group, and then they go, oh, remember how they excluded us? Yeah, get out of here. We don't want you. Why would we want you in this group?
Exactly.
Answer just nailed it.
Tennille89 for $2 more. D. Bud Martin Appreciation Fund. We also appreciate D. Bud Martin, and thus far he's refused any offers for us to do something to remunerate him or say thank you to him outside of saying thank you very much to D. Bud Martin. He's a great mod. Appreciate him. Jacob Foxfires for $10. This is Bridge in Action. They want DEI to be in culture of companies instead of write-offs. They want true believers, and that's why I go extreme. They need an excise cleanup, or they will close. Okay, somebody has to help me out here. I know what Bridge is, but I don't know what Bridge is. What does this stand for here?
It's DEI Super Saiyan 2.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, actually, go ahead, Spencer. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, no,
but
true.
Yeah, go ahead. Go culture. You
Well,
know the best breakdown of it.
I was
the real breakdown of it.
Well, no, I was just going to say that this is an idea that was basically a brainchild of the Gates folks, and they wanted to take DEI and go next level with it. They wanted to take all of it, wrap it up into a little bow, and just build it into their corporate structure as part of every corporate culture. This idea that you approach every single problem, every single thing, every single aspect of what your company does with all of those principles instilled. So maybe not the best candidates, but the most diverse candidates that you can get. Maybe not the best idea, this the most diverse idea and approach to something that you can have. And I'm going to share with you now that in Microsoft, this has already been done at the gaming level inside of their Xbox/Halo games and all of the other things that they're trying to roll out throughout the company. They have an executive in charge at the highest level that's fully indoctrinated, ingrained, and enforcing every single aspect of this neo-Marxist policy/religion. And that's not going to get any better at Microsoft. Microsoft could be in for some troubling times ahead at the very least. And I think that's I've gone about it the kindest way I can, when describing it.
But did you say what B, R, D, G, and E stand for? That was really what I was asking.
Oh, no.
I have it if you don't have it on.
Yes,
on
please
hand.
do it. Yes,
yeah,
please.
It is because we have to memorize these things in our field of work. That's not a dig at culture. That's more why I know this off the top of my head because of my job. But it is belonging, representation, inclusion, diversity, gap, and equity. Or in other words, like the gap in like it's just equity. It's another term for equity.
Yeah,
you know
they wanted it to spell bridge.
The gap in exactly. They were trying really hard, Jonas.
Right.
So gap sense. is that like gap in whatever. It can also
generally
be,
accepted accounting principles, right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly. How much did you make last week and how much do you have now? And then it can also be referred to as benchmarking results in inclusion, diversity, and global equity. So there's two you can use for it, but they basically mean the same thing, like Culture said. It's just the new form of DEI.
I really hope the two different acronym sides hate each other. Machini Draws for $5. Just found out you guys are on Tuesdays now. Yes, we are. We're glad you came to join us, Machini. I tried to do a community post on here before we moved to Tuesdays because that happened rather quickly. We're following up the pro show because we're doing a mega Tuesday here. We start at 11 a.m. on Morning Magic, then pro show at noon, and then that gameplay starting at 2:30 on Tuesdays. Then it goes to Mr. H as soon as this show is done, but he's not here today. He's not streaming today.
Yeah, he has another gig over at another place talking about the events of leadership selection, which we're not going to talk about on today's show, guys. So you are going to get a
vote
reprieve.
for Goku.
Yeah. There you go. You're going to get a reprieve from that type of talk today.
Well, actually, I wanted to address this. Butterbiscuit 92. I hope this won't be election coverage, the show, like the pro show, or else I'm bouncing. I have two things I want to say to that. The pro show today is kind of like, where is it? No, I didn't put it in the right place. Never mind. That joke will wait. Let's say Tennille89, aka dislikes puns for 5. Thank you, by the way, for your 10th super chat. Jonas, it's fine. Never needed an apology. I just wanted to politely make my concern known. I appreciate it, Tennille, especially the fact that you are, of course, a supporter, but the fact that you're here in the chat interacting with us, that is very important.
Just remember, boat Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He is a New York boy standing for New York. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That's right. Stay puffed.
Y'all are reminding me of like this was like 20 years ago or so. For one of the Mario spin-off games, I think it was like Power Tennis or something like that. They were actually doing a promotion on like an internet campaign of you could vote Mario or vote Bowser because it was an election year. It was hilarious.
It's funny to me that it's kind of gotten to the point where, and we're gonna get away from politics very, very quickly.
Yeah, we don't want to
It's
talk
funny
about
to me that this has gotten so bad that you can't even joke about it at this point without making without getting very close to making somebody mad. Makini draws for $10. Culture. I caught you last night trying to poach. Oh, I've never actually heard this pronounced. Sael for TGP. I will call in sick on the day that happens. LMFAO.
Hey, I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun.
Here we are. Butterbiscuit 92. I hope this won't be election coverage of the show like the pro show. I'm just going to point out that over there on the pro show, it's more like this.
Tell me, do you know what day it is, Evie?
November the 4th.
Not anymore. Remember the 5th of November.
And then over here on that game place.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
Oh,
Yes.
dude,
That was
Jonas.
incredible.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
incredible, Jonas.
It was
Oh my
Tuesday.
goodness.
It was Tuesday.
My election coverage will be in my own home as I sit there watching from my television, telling the kids, ask all the questions you want, but there are going to be certain times when Daddy's not going to want to talk. All right, Wild Man of Yavin for $2. Snack Attack 2, Peanuts Revenge. There we go. There we go, right there. He was he's a political prisoner, that Peanut, and
He was a
All right,
rescue
all right.
ranger.
oh, that's true. And
I
we
like
can't
rescue.
have we can't. Sometimes some crimes go slipping through the cracks, but we don't want that to go slipping through the cracks.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
some crimes.
Neil 89 for 5. I'm sure it'll be profitable now. Heinerscheid told me so.
Wow, that
Thank you
company
very
got
much.
so Heinerscheided. Yeah, that was not good for them. That was bad
Yep.
for them. Very bad.
Actually, I'm sorry, Spencer. Did you say you wanted to do a little bit of election coverage? We're going live.
Just
to-
just a little bit, just to make
Yeah.
sure that everybody is on the same page here as far as who to vote for. We
Yeah,
do
Howard
have
Goku.
one political statement.
That's
Goku.
true. We're now getting the results in from Angel Grove.
Exactly. Angel Grove voters, be very careful. Don't vote for dummy. All right, it's not the student that we need.
Oh man, Jason David
That's all.
Frank, rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. Just thought
I'm returning your show to you, Culture. Sorry,
No, we're good. Did we make it through everything? I hope. I hope.
I believe we did. We've had a little bit of trouble of actually getting
Ugh.
all the super chats into StreamYard. We haven't.
All right, we are not. We are not going to have that problem on my show, Jonas. No. But we will share another story with everybody. Are you guys excited for another story? This one's by this one's by a famous
time.
person. This is by a famous person who's on this panel. All right, and yeah. Let's get it going. Here we go. So
Oh my God! It was written by Simu Liu.
there you go. Yeah. And after initial failure of Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft tags new creative director to oversee game's future. All right. This was written by this Spencer guy over at Bounding Into Comics. So yeah, we'll see what he says.
Nothing like fixing the barn door after the horses have come home.
True.
Oh
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
Loki, you say that. I don't know if you know the story or if you read the blog post yet, Loki. But my goodness, you don't know how funny that is, considering what he says.
Well, what he does
Get
say,
into it.
according to the Spencer fella, as part of their previously promised mission of bringing the widely panned title into a decently playable state, Ubisoft has officially handed the reins of Star Wars Outlaws post-release development to a brand new creative director. That's right. The news regarding Star Wars' latest video game outing was first broken to the public courtesy of a developer update published to the game's official website on November 4th. Therein, Ubisoft announced that only was the game previous creative director Julian Gerightly?
Garighty? I don't know.
Gerightly? No longer in charge of overseeing Outlaw's future, but that he'd been replaced in his role by Massive Entertainment's Drew Reckner.
I'm going to say Julian Garrity. It was how I would probably render that, but the Garrity, I usually see that spelled with an A. So I think it's Garrity.
I'm sorry, I liked Gerightly.
How about Giggity?
Giggity.
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 There we go. I'm very excited to be stepping in the role of creative director on Star Wars Outlaws and to be working with the incredibly passionate team here at Massive Entertainment, along with our talented co-development studios around the world and Lucasfilm Games. Wow. I would like to personally thank you, our community, for your positive response to the game. We see and love all fan arts, comments, and videos you've created around the game, and it continues to provide joy and inspiration to the team. We truly hope you're enjoying your journey across the Outer Rim with Kay and Nyx thus far. Oh my, Loki, are you enjoying your journey thus far?
I didn't take that journey. I decided to get on a different train at the station because I was like, no, I don't think so.
Oh man, let me tell you. All right. Well, I know somebody here that tried to take that journey. It would be Jonas J. Campbell. Jonas, how was your journey in your adventure in your story sharing?
It was. I just have to say, I have one simple rule on video games. If it's a game like this for a property like this, it needs to be fun. It needs to be engaging. And this didn't have good visuals. It didn't have good gameplay. It didn't have good controls. There was nothing in this that made me want to play it. And I gotta say, I've dug hours and hours into Star Wars content that is so tangentially not related to Star Wars that I mean, I'll go in. I'd love to do an N64 play of Shadows of the Empire. And
yes. Do that, and I'll be your co-pilot. I will comment while you play because that game is amazing.
It is such
I would love to.
My head rent free.
Yeah.
It's a great game, or even Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which it was a little rough at times, but it was still playing a game
dibs
that
on
was
Rogue Squadron.
definitely Rogue Squadron. Oh my goodness! The only one that I don't like
Squadron on GameCube.
The platforming aspects.
That's number 3. Yeah.
No, 2. The second.
Right, it was 2.
The one where you can do the Millennium Falcon, the gun turret. That was 2.
Yeah, so Rogue Squadron 2, which I mean, and I was a straight through N64 with Rogue Squadron, and then Battle for Naboo. I loved it. I'll just say it. I loved it, even though it was
jank, a little jank.
Yeah. Rogue Squadron 2 for the GameCube, great. Rogue Squadron 3, the platforming was abysmal and made me just go back to playing Rogue Squadron 2. So as a person who loves to play Star Wars games, I'll even go back and play Yoda stories. This game has nothing redeemable in it that makes me want to pay another $20 in order to even go check and see if this game is improved at all. You're wandering around, not even picking up pieces of junk, but picking up dots that then they tell you that it's different pieces of junk. And then you can go sell them. And when I go to sell them, they give me a screen to tell me about all the different factions that I've never heard of while I'm playing this. I mean, I've heard of them, just haven't heard of them in the game. Tell me about how I'm going to relate to them differently depending on which different kinds of junk I sell. It's going to be great. This is such backwards, nonsensical, not fun gameplay. And they should be ashamed that this game is not fun. You have a blaster, you are in an alien world, and it is not fun. So sorry, I'm ranting now. This is a complete miss as a game.
Let's put it this way, Jonas. So I have watched the entire game. I watched one of my a streamer I really like. I watched him play it all the way through. It is just as garbage as Jonas says, when like Jonas isn't even hitting on like some of the technical stuff. Like I watched during the watch through I was watching, I saw like enemies get trapped in like behind invisible like squares in the graphics code, so it looks like they're just standing in the middle of nowhere and they can't move. They repeat the same attacks. It is the most broken sort of game you can think of. But the thing I think that for me really sells how piss poor and sort of lazy this game is. So as you guys over at TPP also know, when we have to make articles, we have to find featured images, and those are the things that you guys all see when you click it or you see it on your Twitter timelines. And for Star Wars Outlaws, there is no more dynamic a shot of Kay than all of these ones you've seen on Bounding and TPP of her just like standing forward and talking. All the camera angles, all the action in this game is like over the shoulder reverse shot. Like it is just shot like a sitcom with everybody standing there. There's no action. There's no anything. It is.
It is
what? It's bye-bye, Spencer.
Yep.
But honestly,
Go
though,
for it. Yeah, I dropped. I know I cut out, but go ahead.
It's fine. It's just if you think about it, Spencer's right. Every single image from this game that I have seen, static or otherwise, has been undercooked and just incomplete. Even the character models. If you look at Kay Vess's face here, I mean, that's like it's like not fully formed. I mean, and this is Vale Tormund. I mean, it's just like, what did they do?
They were lazy. They were lazy. Last time I was on the here, I brought up Red Dead 2, playing Red Dead 2 right before Red Dead came out on PC. And that game looks so good. It functions so good. It's complete. None of this craziness involved in it. And how old is that game now? It's got to be 10 years old now? And they did a better job then than they're doing now for less money, a lot less money then than they have now. Explain that to me, how a game 10 years old.
And that wasn't an IP, Loki. Like this is Star Wars. It's what Jonas says. Like when you attach an IP to something like this, you are putting, theoretically, I mean, obviously before Disney got a hold of it, but like you're putting a sort of like quality marker, right? Like this is IP. We don't let anything into the IP that isn't, at least attempting to be really, really, really good. And the attempt wasn't here. And so
I think after dealing with EA for so long, Star Wars is used to it.
When we talk about LucasArts, and LucasArts comes up, LucasArts can come up on almost any live stream that Park Place has a part in, and it will be an acceptable topic here. But LucasArts was a company that existed to market and make relevant Star Wars content, and also Indiana Jones, and of course
Atlantis.
Secret of Monkey Island was in there, of course, and we'll bring up LucasArts anytime that we can.
Grim Fandango,
right?
And I've said this earlier today.
Oh, Grim.
The theme parks, like for instance, Avatar. When Avatar went into Disney's Animal Kingdom, the point of that was to market a franchise. And having that in the theme parks continually refreshes that franchise. Snow White's a better example, because I don't know if you guys realize this. That movie is nearing 100 years old. Within the next 10, 15 years, it will be a 100-year-old movie that they are still selling merchandise on. So if you want to engage young men and not so young men on the Star Wars property, what is the worst thing that you could do? Destroy studios that continuously make good Star Wars content. The fact that they have abdicated the idea of marketing these games to the people who have given them so much money, the idea of paying $4 billion for a studio like Lucasfilm and saying, no, we're going to create a new audience instead of going ahead and creating that new audience. If you give them $4 billion to create a Space Wars franchise that happens to have a female lead, go ahead and do it. But instead, they have taken Star Wars. They've taken one of the greatest game development names out there, LucasArts, and turned it into, we're going to rent this out over here to, Ubisoft or Respawn or whatever, and we'll just hope that it works out.
Yep,
So,
they had their own gaming division. They had their own gaming division, and they
shut that down. And then Bob Iger a year ago said, "Hey, did you know there's the kids like video games? Let's get in on that video game," and bought into Epic. The one thing I wanted to bring up, because you guys sort of touched upon this a little bit right before I jumped on, but there's so in this discussion of, we want to make this for a new audience, or we're looking for a new audience. Yes, you guys are right in that they are very much virtue signaling, and they're very much, trying to use that as a marketing angle. But I also think it's an angle we all forget here, and I tend to do it too, is that when they're saying that, they're not, it's not 100%. Oh yeah, we're all in on the DEI stuff from a social perspective, right? Like, bear with me, guys. I know it sounds like I'm defending him, but I'm not. There's also a significant corporate greed factor, because when they say, "Oh, we're making this, this is the series everybody loved, but now we're looking for a new audience," what they're trying to tell their investors and everybody else is that, "Oh yeah, we have this dedicated fan base, but we want more." So that leads them to go, "Oh, what's more? What's the word? Like disparaged people. I forget what the exact word is. What?
Discouraged?
No, not discouraged. Like
minority.
Everybody knows.
Othered is kind of the disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised. There we go. That's exactly what it is. Thank you, Jonas. That's the word they love using. So they think in their minds that they take you guys or us as the audience that is already there for granted. They just want more. So they think, all right, the last Star Wars game made $50 million. And I know I'm just saying a number, right? It made $50 million. Well, let's make another one. And we're going to presume that all those Star Wars fans are going to show up because it's Star Wars. So we've already got 50 million in the bag. But now if we specifically also go, all of you social justice people out there, here's a character and a storyline that's just for you, that'll build on top of the audience we already have, and we'll have more people. And there's just no understanding of what people want to engage with, what people like.
real quickly, I want to return to one thing that you had in your story that I want to highlight. Mm-hmm. They actually supposedly are paying attention to everything that's been out there.
Yes.
So Reckner admitted that the game's dev team has been gathering information regarding its reputation formally through our analytics, user tests, reviews, media feedback, our Star Wars Outlaws bug reporter, crash reports, and other mechanisms, but also informally when we see your YouTube videos and Reddit, Discord, and other social media posts. And as such, had zeroed in on 3 key areas in which we're looking to improve the game further. You need to work on all areas of this game, but the first area is the improvement of the game is combat. Second is stealth, because that's broken. And finally, the third key area of focus is centered around character controls, which means improving reliability of cover, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead.
So this is what I was talking about, Loki, and I wanted to highlight this to everybody. So when right here, the guy promises we're looking at 3 areas of improvement: combat, stealth, and character control. That's the entire game. They're basically saying, "Oh yeah, we got to fix everything," without coming out and saying it. Like, I laughed so hard when I got through his third point. I'm like, that's just the entire game outside of the story.
Yeah, and it was almost the same thing with Cyberpunk. When Cyberpunk released Broken, they went, "Well, this broke, well, this is 2, and this broke 2, and we're gonna have to work on this." And pretty much, the game may look kind of similar to what it was when you got it, but it's nowhere near what it was when it launched. That means you made something that was so bad, you had to go back, you had to fix everything in the toolbox, and that's bad.
Can I also point out something about this? Other than the fact that Ubisoft Premium Plus is out there, this is not games as a subscription. Like Fallout 76 is an example of a game that they were trying to keep you engaged on. That was a subscription model game, correct? They were trying to sell additional content for that game over a period of time. They've indicated that they're pulling back on DLC for this. So DLC, they're going to fix what was already announced. They're pulling back on the season pass stuff, or maybe I'm confusing a little bit of what's going on with Shadows out here. So this is not games as a subscription, and they've appointed a new creative director. So I think that this is something where they are arranging deck chairs on the Titanic at this point, except it's a gay, ugly Titanic. I just don't understand what they're doing here in any way, other than saying to their shareholders. But the shareholders don't even seem to matter here, because it's Tencent that is probably buying this company.
Yeah, that's probably true. But look, I want to give Nolan the last word on this one. Nolan, do you think that coming in at this point and fixing the game, as Spencer says, because it needs all 3 elements of the game, all of the game needs fixed. Do you think that's a good use of money at this point, or should they throw all their efforts behind something that is not yet out, like I don't know, Assassin's Creed Shadow, rather than throwing good money after bad here?
I think honestly it's the second one, because I just don't think this game, if you have a Star Wars IP and it's failed this hard to appeal to people, I mean, you're basically putting makeup on a pig at this point. And I know there's probably some people out there that like the game, but the reality is this game is not going to have the same kind of hype in 20 years from now, the same way everyone's eyes lit up when we're talking about like Rogue Squadron, Battlefront Naboo. It's going to be a blip on the radar and forgotten, like one of those more obscure GBA games back in the day. If I was Ubisoft, you got to be very cautious where your funds are going right now. We literally saw a game get delayed just to get it out of its year, whatever report for the year. So if I'm in charge, I would capitalize on this Assassin's Creed delay and be like, hey, what can we do to redeem this franchise? If you follow what the interviews were saying with the head people behind the game, they're wanting to bring Assassin's Creed back to the pedestal it used to be put upon from all the fans that played it, and hit that integrity of getting the status of the franchise. And I think this one sometimes you just got to sink the ship, and in this case, it's an overpriced Star Wars extravaganza that is better left in the past.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And with that, Jonas, it's your turn to get us through some of these wonderful and amazing super chats from our supporters.
Yeah, I just want to address something that's happened in the chat here on this channel and on previous channels. There were a lot of people that were saying something to the effect of that they aren't coming up on the chat, or they're having visibility problems. I know there are people that will like log in on two screens or whatever. We're seeing that chat, so I'm assuming you're not banned. If we ban someone from the channel, even we can't see it. We get a deleted message or something like that at first, and then it just disappears altogether. So I just want to say, Ronnie G, we saw your previous ones and we saw them here. So I don't know what's going on with the chat. It appears to be there's a lot of strange things going on YouTube over the last 2 days. Released a video yesterday that had 270 likes, 27 comments, and 0 views. Eventually,
I had that too.
Did show up.
I called that out on Twitter. I saw that.
Yeah,
I got multiple emails this morning. I got one from our good friend Snora Poopish Cuber, who had to use a new account to be seen in chat. Jill Powers, the River Daughter, could not send a message this morning through the chat. It never showed her. I got an email from her. I got another email from one of our friends in North Dakota who said, I'm just not showing up in your chat. And I said, I will try and find you on YouTube and wrench you and then unwrench you. We'll see what happens. But YouTube is pulling shenanigans behind the scenes.
Right. So, you know, and if we go too hard, and we haven't so far, on what in the world is going on here, it may have some significance to, you know, some other things that we've
Tell me, do you know what day it is, Evie?
Anyways, could be that, could be other things. But I just want to say I appreciate your patience and brace for impact. Jacob Foxfires for $10. That is an interesting hypothetical. Take alignments out. Mario, the hardworking American who can get any job done. By the way, Italian American who can get any job done, versus Bowser, who is a great father and well respected in his army for president. Discuss.
It's me, Mario.
This might be a hot take, but Bowser could rule a kingdom way better than Mario ever could. That man,
Are you insane? That man is ruled by women. That man only he is a simp supreme, and he's a deadbeat dad. He doesn't take care of either Bowser Jr. or the Koopalings. No, thank you. I'm going with the man who actually cares about his community. Mario
about his community. You know, the original instruction book for Mario 1 said those blocks were toads turned into the blocks.
Those aren't his community. He's not a citizen of the Mushroom Kingdom. He's an American. All right.
Bowser rides a Harley with a boo on front. I'll go with Bowser and the Harley.
You know who's surprisingly good at governing when he chooses to govern? Wario.
Luigi.
Anyways.
Wario. It's me. Wario.
I thought you were going to say me, Jonas. I almost felt like I was going to be supported for a moment, but not anymore.
Yeah, there's a Wakanda-like land out there on Culture's property. Once you get past the electric fence, it's beautiful, Afrofuturistic like the real Wakanda. Anyways, Makani draws for $5. Wait, there was fan art of KVS? Okay, I got to look this up.
I highly doubt it.
It does exist. I was in verification. Yes, apparently someone out there went the other direction with the fan art than the makers of the game. Makani draws for 10. To quote Shill Up on his Dragon Age review, you don't actually accidentally end up with characters who look like this.
Yep.
K-Vest is an example of that. Man, that Dragon Age stuff is exhausting. Just exhausting.
Oh,
Seriously.
Wow. We have a story or 2 or 10.
We'll get into it. I'm sure we got to talk about it.
We have to talk about it.
Just like,
Don't spend your money wisely, kiddos. Spend your money wisely and do your homework. If you don't know what a game's going to be like, do a little homework and check it out. Don't just buy it.
Don't buy it.
I agree. I've never lost more money on disappointing video games than when I pre-ordered them, especially on digital. Jay for $2, Rogue Squadron fighting the Empire in a Buick.
Yes, I love that so much in the game.
that was so fun, and it was a Cadillac.
I love it though. The idea of the old games like Spider-Man appearing in Tony Hawk, the kind of thing that you just can't do. These
just
days.
Fun.
That would be DLC
Pro
now.
Skater games.
Yeah, what happened to the fun? What happened to the fun?
Speaking of which,
money.
I do believe the Cadillac has been added to the game that I keep getting mocked for bringing up. But Snoop Dogg is in Fortnite, and I think they've added a Cadillac to the game.
Of course.
But wait a minute, is that only on Freedom Town map, Jonas?
You know what else I found out? There's no shooting, only talking on the Freedom Town map. So
what?
Yeah,
Fortnite wasn't bad enough.
I'll just play Fortnite Festival and get EXP for it.
It would make so much more sense if it was some version of Fortnite Festival, but I think you're literally just walking around doing quests.
I think it would just be better if it just looked like Chirac. At least it'd be more honest. Anyway.
Radial Drago for £2. Those Star Wars images are nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
and not the cool nightmares where Darth Vader turns into a scorpion. You know.
I get that.
Yeah. Tennille89 for $5. I've got it. SBI is the Rachel Ziegler of consultant groups. Whenever they speak, the PR equivalent of the Black Death falls out of her noise hole.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
I'm trying to think of something they've done where they've taken credit for it and it's successful.
Yeah, I don't know.
Radial Drago for £10. The joke is that the audience they already had was originally the disenfranchised groups. They are looking for think of the old Star Wars and Star Trek nerds. Gaming was looked down upon back in the day. Yes, it was, and it still is a little bit. But the problem is the gaming journalists want to both look down on it and make money off of it. So they got to figure that one out. I think it's hypocritical.
Yeah, and that's why we do game journalism on our various outlets like That Park Place and Bounding into Comics. We do it for a reason. So we have.
By the way, I did not know that you could get bounding in dark mode. So I'm going to have to switch my settings around.
Bounding in dark mode?
We just added it. Yeah.
Ooh,
relax your eyes, everyone.
Tennille89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $5. Jonas mentioned design by committee. Evidently, the central committee. Bunch of winners there. Yeah, this is why central planning doesn't work, by the way. I'm going to go straight political on this. The idea of central planning for millions of products intrinsically creates a massive bureaucracy with no accountability. That is why communism does not work, because those decisions should be made by the market to decide whether or not a product should continue to exist, continues to have the value that it is worth at the price level that it is labeled. So, yeah.
Jonas, that's that thing though. They don't want that. They want to make money. All this is about making money. The entire DEI, all of this is about making trillions of dollars. When they said this is $1 trillion business waiting to be squeezed, and suddenly you have entire committees and red tape to go through to make a video game. You have to go through all of this nonsense and pay all of these people and get exorbitant loans to make a video game because guess what? You have to go through the bureaucracy and the red tape of making one now. All because of this all because of this nonsense. And guess who pays for that? When they go, well, we just raised the price of games to $60 and now we're looking at 80 for Grand Theft Auto 6. You pay for all of this stuff. They're not going to. You are the consumers.
Agreed. Machiny draws for $10. You could argue Spider-Man 2, but the counter argument is look at the $300 million budget and still hasn't completely recuperated its budget and no future DLC. That's true.
I think he's answering your question about what did they ever do anything good.
Yeah, I would say Spider-Man 2 is probably the closest.
Yeah.
But the Carnage gameplay, I mean, there's something to be said there for a better version, or maybe they could actually let you play as Venom on a regular basis in that one.
The boss fights in the Venom run was really fun.
Yeah,
it's just the story that you're like, oh, leave me alone.
Right, and I'll say this: whenever I found out that I had to travel across the bay, instead of feeling the sensation of flying, I thought, oh, this is going to take forever. And they turn off fast travel for a lot of that. So
what?
Tennille 80, yeah, skip cinematic, right? Tennille 89 for
how do I keep finding out worse things about this game like years after it's out?
It seems like it's pretty random too when they turn off fast travel. So Tennille 89, aka Dislikes Buns for 5, and thank you for your 10th super chat. Yeah, borrowing from the original the same way militant extremists borrowed an Iranian embassy in London at one time. More winners. Mm-hmm. Thank you. SFX Sabertooth Raptor for 10. Have you guys played the old Star Trek game Bridge Commander and have used mods? The Eclipse class mod is my preferable Enterprise G, the true Enterprise G. I have not played Bridge Commander, but
I had the Deep Space Nine, the Deep Space Nine mod, the one that adds the wormhole in Deep Space Nine, adds like 100 different ships to play, and the Borg, and you've got a free roam mode. Bridge Commander was absolutely excellent. It's one of the first games I was like, okay, I've got to go and get a whole new video card just for this game and plug it in and swap it out and do my own thing. And I tell you what, that was a great fun game. And the fact that your first officer is almost like Shelby from Best of Both Worlds, that was crazy. The fact that you go from an Enterprise D-like ship to a Sovereign class ship, the whole game was great. The story was great. It kind of reminded me of the Dominion War. In fact, I thought they should have done the Dominion War in Bridge Commander. But absolutely, you can still get that game over on GOG. If you want that game and you want to be able to play it on your current system, they have all of the old Star Trek games from back in the day.
And GOG. No DRM. GOG is the best.
No DRM. Yeah, so these are all the old Activision games you never thought you would see again. No sales pitch. I have no affiliation with GOG. I just love their platform.
I wouldn't mind it. I will say Machiny draws for $5, and I'm going to agree with you before we start the super chat. You're totally right. Alan Wake 2 has made nothing despite being partnered with Epic and being the game's media darling. I forget the name of this company, but I poured through the financial statements of this company with Culture and with John Trent. Wow. Yeah. We went through Remedy? Their financials. Yes, that's it. Remedy. And they're a different financial accounting standard. They're IFRS instead of US GAAP. So I will tell you, the only income that company right now has is other people prepaying them for games. They have yet, according to the last financial statements that maybe there's new ones since then, they still have not made back the production loan that they took on from Epic in order to finance the making of Alan Wake 2. And the only place they were making money was on the sales of remasters of, was it Alan Wake? I think Alan Wake and maybe Max Payne, the remaster.
Yeah, Max Payne. Yeah, actually, they were paying their debt by working on Max Payne, if I remember correctly.
Right. So they have no revenue. They're taking on loans and listing that as them being in supposedly in the black. So they're financing their existence with debt. So they are in a very bad situation here. They're essentially holding on to other people's IP in order to be absorbed at a later date. So they're on limited time right now.
At a soon coming date.
Yeah, Epic will own them outright
soon.
So and I see no reason for this company to continue to exist. Sorry, that was a lot of information in response to a $5 super chat. But
yeah, but it was good information, and everybody should know it. So well done.
So.
That's why they come here.
Yeah, it's called royalties there. They have received no royalties from Alan Wake 2. So to Neil 89 for 2 definitely meant as sarcasm. Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. And just because of the platform that was acting weird, I hope you understood what I mean as well as me understanding what you mean there. So, and for $2 more, in Modern Bridge Commander, you play as Phil Spencer.
Oh, come on now.
There you go. There you go. Here, you can have your show back now.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And for everybody who stuck around, and for all of you who are supporting us right now, we're going great guns. We're gonna have a pizza night tonight. We're gonna rent out the whole arcade. We might even invite y'all over to come and play with us. Open up all the machines. There won't be any quarters required. Infinite credits. So it'll be a good time. Dude. All right. Let's jump into another story because we have to. Here, I'm going to do this officially, so hang on. Bear with me a moment. It seems that... Let's try that again. Sorry. This is actually how
we're doing live clipping.
I know. This is live clipping.
We'll do it live.
Here we go.
That's right. Okay. It seems like BioWare is having a rough go of things right now. They released an incredible video game, they think, that nobody wants to play. Is it the character models? It's the terrible story? Or is it the idiotic identitarianism that they decided to shove right up gamers? Well, anyway, let's talk about it on That Game Place. That's right. Hello, everybody. Let's jump into this Dragon Age story coming out of That Park Place from John F. Trent and speak a little bit about the game that shall not be named. That's right, Dragon Age the Veilguard. It will not have anything. You have nothing to look forward to. You won't get any DLC or expansions. BioWare's moving all their focus over to something that might actually sell, Mass Effect 5. This is a crazy story, and it's one of two that we're going to cover in this segment right now. Gentlemen, I'm going to start reading this. Feel free to interrupt me as we go. A new report details that BioWare will not be developing any DLC or expansions for Dragon Age the Veilguard, but will instead turn their entire focus to Mass Effect 5. That's right. George Yang at Rolling Stone reported on Halloween, with Dragon Age the Veilguard now complete, BioWare confirms there are currently no plans for downloadable expansions. He added the developers' full attention is now shifted entirely to the next Mass Effect as their current project. A subsequent report from Kat Bailey at IGN, you can't spell ignorant without IGN, did detail that BioWare is not completely abandoning Dragon Age the Veilguard following its release, but will support the game with quality of life improvements and a handful of smaller content updates. Gentlemen, does this sound promising for this game?
Sounds like the game's over for Dragon Age. And I mean, they can focus all their efforts on Mass Effect all they want to. Now that we know how they're doing this, now that we know that they completely bought the press, because how many 10 out of 10s did it get? And we all know better. I have serious concerns for Mass Effect 5. Very, very serious concerns. They can say, oh, don't worry, it'll have all the adult content. It won't be like Dragon Age. But that doesn't mean I believe a word out of their mouth.
Well, let me ask this question to Spencer, because I know he's covered it. Spencer, what did the person that's working on Mass Effect immediately come out and say?
Oh, he came out and he was like, this is the best game ever. Everybody should go play Veilguard because it's going to be exactly like Mass Effect and we're so confident in it. No, I'm kidding. The current game lead for the Mass Effect, I guess you could call it 4 for lack of a better term, basically came out immediately in the day of the release. That's how crazy it was. Like the morning of the day it came out. He came out and he said, yeah, I hear a bunch of the complaints and I see a lot of questions. Don't worry. Mass Effect is not changing its tone or its graphic style. Like, we are going to be photorealistic and we're serious. When you're telling a sci-fi story, you need to have a little bit of a different attitude than a fantasy story. It was the most like amicable PR, still working at the same company, sort of like statement about, I don't want anything to do with that Veilguard game, but I can't come out and trash it.
Yeah, and that's really odd, right? Considering, and Jonas, I got to ask you, given that the game will not have any DLC, it calls into question EA's CEO Andrew Wilson's bravado surrounding the game during recent earnings calls. And I know you pay attention to those. Wilson touted that the game had breakout potential in telling investors, it's amazing time at EA, and in 2 days, we will launch Dragon Age the Veilguard. It's been 10 years since we launched its predecessor Game of the Year winner, Dragon Age Inquisition. He then finished saying, early critic scores are strong and reflect the high quality, depth, and detail in Niche's action-packed adventure. We expect Dragon Age to be a great example of how our blockbuster storytelling engages and connects fans in truly unique ways. Well, I guess some of those ways are, not by offering them anything more. Right, Jonas?
Yeah. I first of all, I just want to make it clear, I have not looked into the financial filings of Electronic Arts here, but Dragon Age Inquisition, that was what? That was 10 years ago. It was 2014.
Yeah.
That had a lot of DLC, didn't it?
I can't rightly recall. Our resident expert here would be Marvin, and he isn't here.
I'm just going to list some things out. Jaws of Hakkon, The Black Emporium, Spoils of the Avar, Spoils of the Kunari, The Descent, and Trespasser. That's 6 different ones that are listed here on
those are DLC.
Yeah, they're listed as DLC on the Dragon Age wiki, not counting the little gift packs that you get for different exclusives here. So for the first announcements of a game to be that we are not doing DLC, that's a strange one. That's supposed to be a move from strength, I think, here, but I don't think it comes off as strength. By the way, even though
no, not at all.
Even though Hogwarts Legacy, I'm going to point out, they said there was no DLC for that game. Warner Brothers has come back and said, no. Regardless of if you think you're going to do DLC, you are going to do DLC for Hogwarts Legacy.
And that's what I think is so crazy about this, Jonas, is like, if they're saying no DLC, no post-game support, yes, that's sort of like what we all would probably want to see more of in the industry. Like, oh, you're shipping the complete game, it's over. But at the current state of the industry, for a quote unquote AAA game from a AAA studio that's under Microsoft to come out and not even try to milk DLC, that's either I can't see that as anything but like a lack of confidence all around, because everything will get DLC these days. Even the crappiest games we can think of got DLC. Star Wars Outlaws is getting DLC in like a week.
Mortal Kombat. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Well, I was actually gonna point at not Outlaws, but the Squad Kill the Justice League got a bunch of DLC. It certainly didn't deserve it.
Oh yeah, it's still going too, I believe.
Yeah.
I think they got like one more left.
Yeah, the only thing that came out this year that I don't think got a lot of DLC support was Concord, but you guys could correct me if I'm wrong there.
Theoretically, it was supposed to.
They had those great vignettes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
We didn't even make it to round 1 of vignette, dude. Come on now. We didn't make it to the first one.
Apparently
we did. We made it to 2, because when I go on YouTube looking for Concord images, there's all the compilations like Concord vignettes. What 2 of 2? And I'm like, dang.
Oh, so they did come out. I managed to avoid them.
Just 2 of them, and then the rest of them are lost forever.
All right, but see, this is not where this stops, and this is kind of important, because I'm looking around and I'm going, this is something doesn't jive here with the breakout potential of this game, I should say. And
isn't like breakout. I mean, the very definition is like, oh, it's a brand new thing, and it just broke out into the industry. We've had 3 games with tons of DLC for each game, and it's not like this is a new IP. No. So why is it breakout potential if it's
I don't know, but
quantity?
But nothing that's happening around this game is supporting that narrative. And you have to ask yourself why. Well, Dragon Age the Veilguard has a peak concurrent player count as of November 4th that tops out at 89,418. That's not great numbers on the first full weekend of release. I would say that, yes, you can give it an excuse that it released on Halloween, but over the weekend, this thing sucked rocks.
Where are the millions of players? This was supposed to be like millions strong. Are they all on Xbox and PlayStation? I highly doubt it.
Well, I know this much. If we're looking at the Steam charts from Sunday night, right? Sunday night, 89,418 all-time peak. And that looks like players at the time was 34,293. When you start to look at these numbers and you look at this performance, again, that word breakout potential doesn't enter the lexicon, let alone anything else. Nolan, you've been quiet on this one. Is this kind of performance for this game this early on something that indicates a runaway success?
Well, no, not even close. Like, I don't know how to say this. I mean, this isn't going to go big. I mean, if they're already giving up on it, like, usually a lot of companies will at least be like, about a month or two later, they'll be like, yeah, we're not doing DLC. The sales figures were under our expectations, or heck, they might not even go into sales figures. They'll just say like, hey, we weren't even, but they didn't even give this game a chance. And if they're already stopping, like canceling DLC when the game's been out for like, what, a week or two, I think they was already writing on the wall for this, that there's some people, whether they're saying it or not, know that this game wasn't going to hit those projections, and they're already trying to re-strategize where to take this team. So I don't think, I mean, it could maybe rebound a bit in the holiday season, but I just really don't see it rebounding to where it was about a decade ago.
Can I throw something in here just so we have the most current figures on this? It hasn't gotten better on all-time peak. It's still at 89,418, which currently puts it, if it had that much right now, it would be above everything except for Throne of Liberty, PUBG, Source, SDK, Call of Duty, Dota. I mean, they would really have to be hitting hard here. But what was it? Baldur's Gate is currently at 71,698, and this is sitting down there at 58,584.
And Baldur's Gate's been out for a year, hasn't it, Jonas?
Yeah, I do believe
longer than that, because of the beta. It was in beta. It was greenlit beta.
I had the early access. Yeah, it was out for a long time. So you're talking about a game now. It's been out over a year. That has 71,000 people playing it. You're talking about a brand new game, not even a full week old, that is managing 58,000.
Right, and a game that is all over social media right now in infamy. It's just people aren't interested in actually playing it. So I don't know if we've talked about this. I had to deal with something in the background here for a moment, but have we talked about why they wouldn't be getting any DLC at this point, and what the business strategy behind not doing DLC at this moment is?
I don't think we have.
No, let's talk about that.
Mass Effect is just around the corner, and they've confirmed that the company is fully focused on Mass Effect right now, 4 or 5, whatever the number is, after Andromeda at this point. So I'm wondering if Electronic Arts, which is not owned by Microsoft, one of the few companies out there that is not owned by Microsoft, I wonder if they see the writing on the wall here, and they are redeploying resources, diverting resources over here to say, whatever is going on with Mass Effect 5, good or bad, we are putting all the eggs in that basket at this point. And that is where we're going to be putting our resources. This needs to be the greatest Mass Effect game ever played. We need the headlines. We need everyone playing this game. If there's going to be DLC, it's going to be on Mass Effect as opposed to Dragon Age, the awkward Thanksgiving simulator.
Right. Well, let me do this, because I think this is really look. I'm gonna take back my screen. I think that maybe gamers are tired of every video game looking like it's a drag queen simulator. In its presentation of its characters. I think there's frustration there. I think gamers are tired of things looking, very unisex. I think gamers are tired of, this kind of, contribution to the game that you can make. I think gamers are tired of poor stories that are injected with lore that actually exposes just how deep the depths go when it comes to exactly what they were doing in this game on purpose as far as the politics. They may be focusing on that, Jonas, and that may very well be true. But you can't. I can't pretend that I don't believe there was several DLCs lined up for this in the future. Can anybody even believe that?
No, I don't. No, ever since Andromeda, because Andromeda had DLC, it was going to drop, and it never dropped because of how bad the game was. So, I mean, Dragon Age has always had DLC. It's always had expansion packs. The fact that this one doesn't speaks volumes. And I mean, you talk about Andromeda. You guys brought up Andromeda. Jonas, if you were working at BioWare right now and you had never worked there during the other mess, just knowing about Andromeda, what would you be like? Even if you had a whole new team, nobody works there that worked there during Andromeda. How would you be with your people right now going into Mass Effect 5, considering the absolute crapshoot that they had with Andromeda? I would be on them. I want to see everything. You guys, it's got to look perfect. It's got to be perfect. They already hate us enough for this last game we made. It's got to be good. And if they aren't doing that right now, fire them all and just get rid of BioWare. Because we can't do Liara ugly. If you thought Andromeda had drama with the development and the release, just wait, because if they mess with any of the OG characters, if they use this DEI stuff, and you've got OG characters that you love coming back that are just soy infused latte drinking fembots, it's going to be a riot from people that love those games.
Yeah, just to be clear here, I want to cite here as I can here this article from that Park Place. Will not have any DLC or expansions as they shift focus to Mass Effect 5. The quote comes out of Rolling Stone's George Yang at Rolling Stone reported on Halloween, with Dragon Age Veilguard now complete, BioWare confirms there are currently no plans for downloadable expansions. The developers' full attention has now shifted entirely to the next Mass Effect as their current project. So I'm not just pulling that one out of nowhere.
No. That was actually the lead-in story when you'd stepped away. We were talking about.
I apologize. But there is one more thing that I want to say about the situation at Mass Effect, and maybe I'm skipping ahead in the notes here, but and I think I'm going to disappoint someone in the chat as I say this.
You will.
Yes. Here out of Games Radar, Dustin Bailey, don't expect the big Mass Effect update on N7 day. BioWare warns that it's going to be quieter after Dragon Age the Veilguard. I think at the worry of ending up quoting a political operative here, they're going heads down over there at BioWare and Electronic Arts when it comes to whatever's going on here. I think that they are going to be very focused on the work, and they're going to say that they're very focused on the work in order to make this next thing the best game that it can possibly be. And those are the exact words that they need to be using. The best game that it could possibly be. They know all the things that make people angry. They know all the things that generate the viral clips. And if they can stay away from weird journal entries about people's journey, then all the better.
Yeah. And again, that knowing full well what they were doing when they did that, again, gamers are tired of it. And the fact that I'm sorry, Machini and others that look forward to N7 Day, but
I do. I love it. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan.
I don't think you're going to hear much, and that was perfect timing on that, Jonas. So, well, guys, final thoughts on Dragon Age, because I feel like after not quite a week, we can put it to bed. What do you guys think? Any hope for this game?
I try not to think about it.
Is Spencer? Spencer, you don't think it's going to be a Game of the Year contender?
It'll definitely be on the ballots, but I'm seeing I am seeing people who are ideologically opposed to our sphere having the same criticisms. So once you've lost your quote unquote core demo, I think you can kind of call it a wrap.
It's a good way to put it.
I'm calling it now. I'm going to say Dragon Age is actually going to win big at the Game Awards this year, because they did the same thing with Alan Wake 2 last year, and that was the most I ever heard about that game in this God-given life, and I never heard about it again after the fact. So they seem to love these kind of things, and I think it will actually do pretty well come December.
Didn't it get like 50 10 out of 10s?
Seriously? I don't know about that.
I don't remember how many it got, but I know it was a huge amount. I was just like, I don't see how.
Definitely an award buster, I'll tell you that.
It looks like a unicorn farted on your screen every time you fight somebody. I'm not kidding. I'm sprinkles and sparkles and whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Dragon Age, the mobile guard.
Yeah. So I tell you what, I'm just going to say it this way to put a bow on this. I think the game's done. I think after a week, we won't have to worry about this. Ubisoft will get back into the first place of the news conversation because they have so much disaster happening every day, and we'll likely pay more attention to that and good things like Nintendo in the coming couple of weeks.
Yep. Culture. We do have super chats, and I've got a happier story here, or at least one that's a small victory. Anyways, we'll get to that in a moment. Tanil89 for $2, Bridge Commander, formerly known as XODEI. I appreciate it, Tanil.
He's amazing today. That's just funny as heck.
Tanil89 for $5, Veilshard, Veil Fled, coming up with mean names is likely more fun than the game itself. Yeah, I prefer Awkward Dinner Simulator myself, but all of those work.
Wait, you said Awkward Thanksgiving Simulator.
That's right. Radial Drago, and just think of it, this year we will have all of that behind us by the time. Well, maybe I don't want to make that into famous last words.
Yeah, let's not have a challenge. Don't challenge me, bro.
Radial Drago for £10. There's a game called Exodus that is being developed by the old Mass Effect dev. It looks interesting. I'll save my money for that. Mass Effect 5 and BioWare aren't getting a penny out of me after Dragon Age Veilguard.
Please be good. I don't want it to be the next Mighty Number 9. Please make sure it's actually good this time.
Oh, I was so excited. I finally I'm going to play Mighty Number 9 tonight. I haven't gotten to play that one. All it reminded me of how good Mega Man actually was.
Hey, you know what? To that end, Jonas, I have to play something.
Oh, please go ahead.
It's a must. There you
go. I also love that it's a casual conversation of Mega Man or Mega Man X. They're both great. Machini draws for $20. DreamWorks Shrek art style, boring and badly written story that treats you as a petulant child without a sense of serious moments. Boring gameplay, characters ranging from annoying to insupportable forced messaging. And then for $10 more, making this a $30 super chat, insufferable, and above all else, after school special forced messaging. And this is a game, and this is a return to form for BioWare. I would be surprised if this terrible title doesn't get a single Game of the Year nominee. It's going to get some game awards from, I think, the real Game Awards, but not the kind that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Probably not best physics either. Agreed, Makani. Radial Drago for £5. Mass Effect 5 DEI initiative will include flat Earths for the first time.
That's right. Flat Earth's coming.
You know what I appreciate about the flat Earth? Nobody censors that one. They're just like, no, keep talking. It's fine.
I have to tell you that one in what was it, 3, when you land on that first planet, after being newly resurrected or whatnot, and that first planet is just like this weird like slope, and like if you don't like navigate that slope, you could get permanently stuck there for like a long time. Sorry, look, BioWare games, especially Mass Effect, I love, but that one in 3, right at the beginning, that first planet's like, oh come on. Anyway, sorry.
Are you talking about Earth, or are you talking about in 2 when you wake up on that asteroid thing?
No, you're on the ship, and the first planet you visit is like that weird, you get stuck on it thing.
Okay, so in 3, the first planet you visit is Mars. You start out on Earth and you go to Mars. In 2, you visit that colony that got everybody kidnapped.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you're right. It's 2, not 3. My bad. Yeah, it's still you get stuck. It's dumb. Anyway, go ahead.
Neil89 for 5. Well, you see, if we just assume that they're drunk, dumb, egotistic butt monkeys, then these decisions make much more sense.
That's true.
It does. Yeah. Jacob Foxfires for 5. Should never forget this legendary line from Andromeda. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
my face is tired.
My face is tired, Commander.
Dude, okay. So I took that game. I think I took it up north to my cabin, so that I'd have
buried it out back like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of. I took it up north, and then like I forgot that I left it up there until like this minute. And you know what? And I think it's been up there for like the better part of like 6 years. So
you can't just. We have laws against dumping hazardous waste culture. I'm reporting you.
To Neil 89 for $5 more here. Games are expensive to make, yes, and expensive to buy. Definitely. Of course, the customers are going to be more discerning if a game costs as much as a car payment. I almost picked up Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown today because it's $15 at Walmart, but I couldn't find other things to put in my basket.
But that's a good game.
Now, wait a minute. That was released in February.
Yes, and it's $15 for the PS5 version, I have to point out, by the way.
Oh my god!
I will say that
that's a bummer. That was a good game. That's such a bummer.
I'll also point out that probably wasn't a full $70 when it came out. I thought it was
a 59er.
Yeah, but, yeah. Which is a shame that is the discount level for games now. Like, ooh. But yeah, I totally agree. The idea of Ubisoft coming in with these, well, if you pay $130,
40 standard.
Yeah. I still haven't gotten past $60. The Mum for $199. I'm home finally. What's Madden's take on the new DA? Do we have a new DA?
Dragon Age.
Oh man, I wish Marvin was here. I think.
Sorry, so I have to tell you where my mind was.
Tell me, do you know what day it is, Evie?
Sorry, forgive me for the political leaning there.
I'm good with it. I'm trying to make sure I got caught up on stuff.
Mayor Eric Adams. Let's talk about him. He's my favorite.
No. Marvin, I think Marvin so far is probably very disappointed. But we're gonna get an official take from him, the Mum, very soon, in the next few days, because I'm gonna talk to him and Kevin Apollo and get their initial thoughts about this disastrous game.
I also need to point out he's out having his own very non-LGBT experience right now. So
he's got joysticks.
He's on a cruise with his new wife. Mahogany Draws for $10, and people of a certain class are throwing a hissy fit over a YouTuber who made an LGBT character using the actual character creation tools. Sorry, this is objectively bad. This game is The Last of Us 2 of 2024. Is that McDuggins? Is that the name of the character?
Hypnotic did a great job with that.
This is a game when you describe it to normal people, they go, "What? That's what this game is about?" And I have literally heard no one talking about the actual gameplay here. All it is the clips of the dialogue. And I am trying to get outside of the circle a little bit. I try to go outside of what is probably my algorithmic bubble here to get outside opinions. But those outside opinions end up being from the trades and game journalists. So there's no one I trust that's speaking positively about this game. Maybe that speaks to my problem, but I tend to agree with you, Makani. This game does not look like it's a good or fun time or a deliverance from. If I sit down at the end of the day, I don't want to hear about somebody else's problems. I want to go and solve someone else's problems.
You need
like
to go take a. You need to go take a barf.
Well, also look at the gameplay. Look at the gameplay, the combat system, not just the conversations, but the combat systems. I am not kidding when it looks like wet unicorn farts are all over the screen. It's terrible. The combat, I've watched hours of the combat. They look terrible. It does not look fun. You cannot hot swap with your companions. You cannot use them. You might be able to use an ability here or there, but what's the point of even having them if you can't just swap over? That's always been the case. So not only did they completely redefine how the combat system works, but it's not fun. And it looks terrible. There's not blood. You used to be able to decapitate someone and you got the Kurosawa blood shooting out of there. Now it's unicorn sizzles. It's the unicorn sizzle reel. That's not fun. That's not what gamers want. Who came up with this idea?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't like the glitter bombs?
Yeah.
No, I hate the glitter bombs.
Hey, Spencer, I got a question for you. Lost Crown, should I get it on Nintendo Switch or on the PS5?
I always say Switch because it's always complete. So you can just pop that in 20 years and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about, was there a patch? Yeah.
That's a very good point. It's like $2 more, so I'll go with that one.
You know what? I will get that for you. I will get that $2 for you, Jonas, because I love you so much.
I think our audience is actually gifting that $2 right now.
I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. I might get both because it's going to be like 33 altogether for both editions. I don't know. I probably won't play it on the PS5 if I'm sitting down and doing the PS5. Probably not
because you can.
Yep. King of the Monsters, 1954 for $1.99. Peanut the Squirrel is dining in Valhalla. We need a skull flip on this channel.
He is sitting on Odin's shoulder. Hugin and Mugen are hanging out beside him, and Fred the raccoon's there. Odin's reaching down, petting Fred the raccoon.
And Harambe is getting ready to take him on a ride around. So
on Schleipnir. Hey, yeah, that's right.
Hey, speaking of which, Loki, we do need that gameplay skull here.
Okay, done deal. You guys want a game one, right?
Yeah, let's do
game one. Oh yeah, we'll get you a game skull.
Okay. And again, happy 70th to Godzilla. The Mum for $1.99. I know two people's opinion on this, but X or OG MM. I'm not sure.
OG. I'm gonna say it.
X for me. I love the Dr. Light stuff.
Oh, Mega
the original X. Yeah, Mega Man.
I think X. Look, it's hard to go wrong with Mega Man, but I think X for me.
I'm gonna say OG, and this might be a hot take, but I think we're comparing both really high value games here. I think OG Mega Man has some better music overall. I think there's more variety to it.
Oh, that's a real. We need to have a debate on this on the channel. I think we need to formalize it in the old movie fights way. Here,
Ooh, that
one is better because I go back and forth. Quickman, Cutman, all great music. Elecman, which by the way, years before I realized he wasn't Electricity Man. But then again, you got Storm Eagle over there on the X side of things, and there's some really great music on the X series. This is, I don't know that I could ever definitively answer this question.
Wily Stage 2, my man. Wily Stage 2.
It's perfect. And then there's, of course, the fact that it's not a Nintendo to Super Nintendo switch because they did put Mega Man 7, or was it 8, on the Super Nintendo.
That's SNES.
Yeah,
Seven's SNES. 8 was 8 PlayStation, PS1,
PlayStation, and Saturn.
And Sega Saturn.
Okay.
Yep. So it's not even a clean break in that way. So it might be the question of the channel here. Makani draws for 5. My apologies. I pulled a bar. I'll do some push-ups. If you ever find yourself in a situation that you are required to do a barf, you probably are a person that doesn't need to be doing a barf. But
yeah, you're hanging out with the wrong people, bro.
Makes me want to barf. Tennille 89 for $2. Spencer's Bodemayo pun shouldn't be buried.
You're right.
Boy, somebody heard it. Somebody heard it.
I did. It was good. That's
Yay.
True. Yay.
Jacob Foxmyers
get me through today.
for $5. I heard Nintendo earlier, so on my update on Nintendo, they got a music channel now for NSO users, and I think their financials are up. I need to. Okay, I'm just going to tell you this. There have been so many changes on the channels. I have not been able to keep up with financials the way I should. We do have a Nintendo story. It's going to be a short one.
Yeah. And I have a quick update on their
Please don't play anything from that, but yes.
Oh no, trust me.
I'm not.
Yeah, we are
done.
done.
We're all pulling out our phones, showing up for Nintendo. Our Nintendo Switch
Nintendo
audio
ninjas.
library.
Yeah, real quick. Nintendo the quarterly had their profits drop, lower profits because the aging out of the Switch console. So that's what they're blaming it on. The profits fell 60% in the first half of the fiscal year based on that. That was as of today, this morning, when I
Switch
did the
2's next year, right?
It's coming up in April, I think, is when we'll get the announcement.
They're going to sell like
hotcakes. Why are we looking at the ceiling? Oh, Final Fantasy.
Oh, you got your collection. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Scared me a minute there.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know how that's the closest I get to putting my phone up on here. But speaking of series with amazing music.
So Switch console is in its 8th year. So we should be expecting the announcement in April. I think Jonas and I were talking about that, and I think that me and Nolan actually did a video about the run up to it. And we're going to have to do a what we know so far video on it again because there's more details that came out.
I think the important thing is, yes, they need an upgrade, but also Nintendo, you can pretty much trust them that the software will be good as long as they don't alienate the normies. Sorry. No. It's not the normies they have to worry about. The normies are usually interested in what Nintendo is doing. They don't need to alienate the hardcore gamers.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say this. They still managed to make $715 million in profit for the first half of the year. So they're not doing too bad.
Yeah, they are Nintendo, and they have a lot of different ways to monetize, including Epic Universe, which we can talk about on that Park Place.
There you go.
Tennille 89 for $5. You usually know if it's not a good game, if for no other reason than they're trying so hard to convince you it is. Singing true praise is effortless. I'm going to try really hard not to use Disney as an example here, but yeah, you can tell it stinks when they pat themselves on the back over it. So, King of the Monsters for $4.99. I heard Star Wars Outlaws should be having a DLC. Jonas, will you be streaming the game? My toxic masculinity makes me allergic to playing it myself. And I think I figured out a way that I can do this a lot better than we did it the first time here on That Game Place. So if they... Maybe we need to set a threshold on this one, but maybe I could be convinced. I don't really want to. I will say that. But... anything to y'all. Mark Fields for $1.99. Will there be a new Mario game for the new Switch? Yes, there will be. But the question is if when. So
I think there's going to be one at launch. I think they need a big game for the launch, and we know Tears of the Kingdom came out not too long ago. I think they're going to learn from the past. I think we're going to get a big 3D Mario at the launch for the Switch.
Yeah, I think we're going to get something that harkens back to, I think you're going to get some old school vibes with multiple levels. You could get a Super Mario World or a Super Mario Galaxy kind of game.
Do you think we're going to get any updates to current games like Tears of the Kingdom or any of the Zelda or other games they've got already?
Nintendo doesn't really do that. Oh, you mean maybe they might do an expanded release? Yeah,
I'm trying to think if they have done that on anything. Did they when they said when they launched the OLED model, I don't think they pointed out any particular versions that had better frame rates or even things like that. So no. I don't think they're gonna pull something like PS5 Pro is doing right now, where they talk about artificial intelligence coming in and changing their graphics. I think it's a very non-Nintendo thing. Right.
You usually don't.
Which is a huge nothing burger. If you've seen,
don't get me and Loki started on ray tracing. Well,
I've never bought a game for ray tracing. Never.
I never bought a video card for its ability to ray trace either. So.
I think that the first game announced for the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be Metroid Prime 4. So
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Think so?
I would love that.
Yeah, I think at this point it is going to be the last game on the Switch, first game on whatever the sequel to the Switch is.
Especially going off of like what Nolan said.
Well, and you also need a new Mario Kart as well. I mean,
that'll be the holiday game. Give it a year from now.
Yeah, and what's really great about that, Nolan and I were talking about it. There are different tracks across different platforms for the same version of Super Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart 8. Right? Remember we covered that story. It was like there were 4 different tracks. The track was the same, but it was over a different country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If you're interested in that, we had a whole video about how Rainbow Road is somehow hovering over certain parts of the Earth, and it varies by game. So if you want to see that, check it out. It was a fun one.
Yeah, I'm also going to point out that if Mario Kart 8 Mario Kart 9 starts off with them saying that there are tracks from Tour, I might not buy Mario Kart. For the first time in my life, I might pass on a Mario Kart. I hate the Tour tracks. I hate them with a passion.
Really?
I'm right there with you.
They're poorly designed. They are the opposite of good design.
Give us more of the tracks from the older games, man. Give us more tracks. Oh
yeah, bring back the one with the desert courses, because I liked those, but I'm weird.
Yep. Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $2. I barfed, I cried, I hurled. Is this a Wayne's World reference? I love it. Hey, we've got a guest in the chat here. SSG Adam Juneman, or Juneman, for 5. I moderate Hypnotic Stream. He's been using McDuffin to read.
Oh, that's awesome, dude!
McDuffin looks like he's in pain.
Crushing it. He's been crushing it. I love it. Him and JT right now, Smash JT, are just going bananas. It's great.
Yep. Josh Hammond says, we still need Marvin to make Jonas play Mass Effect Trilogy on this channel. I'll gladly make a thumbnail for it. Someday we'll get around to that. Bad News Badger for 50 Danish krona. If you, as a consultant, need to invent issues to solve, you should realize you are obsolete and hone your skills to other already present issues. Well said. We don't have a lot of time for this story, but I do want to just throw this out here as kind of a feel-good story. 210 days after Nintendo shut down the 3DS and Wii U online servers, the last connected player finally signs off after his console crashes. It's over. Rest in peace, Nintendo Network. It's
officially playing the Mario World end credits music from here.
Nintendo's 3DS and Wii U online servers were meant to shut down in April, and while they did for most, the efforts for dedicated fans around the world kept them going for way longer than they were supposed to, including one final player who's only just disconnected and not by choice. The legend of Fish Guy 6564 is one that will go down in 3DS and Wii U history. He was far from the only player to attempt to stay connected to the servers, but he was certainly the most successful in terms of how long he managed to keep things going. He and another player, Mario is Cool 246, set off with a clear goal to keep a lobby alive in the 3DS Mario Kart 7 for as long as possible. Well, apparently they have been shut down, and I love stories like this, and the fact that Nintendo didn't come in and just shut it all down on them. This was a technical issue on their end, not a Nintendo problem. They kept it going. They didn't do anything. If this was an EA, if this was an Ubisoft, they would shut it down, maybe accidentally a day before they announced that they were going to do it.
I was still upset when they shut down the old Xbox store.
Yep. I mean, I can still get on my Xbox 360 back here and make one of those stupid avatars. I mean, I love being able to do the ephemera of video games right here. The boot up sound for the GameCube, the little ding at the start. Obviously, those are startup sounds. Or the eShop music, which is still famous and out there. Is the eShop music on the Nintendo app, by the way?
I can find out without playing.
Should be. If it's not, I'm gonna.
You want the eShop one or the Wii Shop channel?
The eShop channel. Sorry. Yeah, I guess I do mean the Wii Shop channel. Sorry. There I go.
Find. Actually, yep, the Wii Shop channel is on here.
Oh, that's A+. Nintendo wins. I don't
Perfect.
even care. I'll fanboy right now.
Yeah, there's a reason that people cherish this stuff forever, and there's a reason that we talk about gaming. There's a reason that we get angry about gaming. It's because we all love gaming. So I know that it's sad that they've moved on from this thing. It can't continue to exist forever. I kind of wish they would release the code so that someone else could host something that's like this. Maybe a museum of some kind could be trusted with the code for a Wii U or a 3DS eShop here. But I love that this went on for 210 days, more than half a year, that this thing kept going for as long as it did, because people just loved it. Not because they hate Nintendo, but because it's something to be cherished, to be honored for a little bit of time here, no matter what the head of Nintendo says. So love it. Anybody have anything they want to throw in here before we wrap this thing up? We got one more super chat, by the way.
Two awesome gentlemen that decided they were going to stick it out and stay as long as they could. One ended up being the lead race horse, and he stayed in until he literally lost power and got disconnected. And Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. That's it. It's over. But yeah, man, like you said, Jonas, it's just one of those moments in gaming history. Hey, do y'all remember that guy that hung on for like 210 days in a lobby so they didn't shut down the server?
Yeah, my town made a statue of that guy.
Hey, look at this. No, that's not what we would want to put up here. Red syrup is Fish Guy 6564. Absolutely. Our good friend Dutch Butters over there from Salty Nerd Gaming.
Hey.
Yep. And Theme Park Silver. There is a version of the Wii Shop still online, but we don't speak about those things.
Oh, yeah.
And yet here we are.
I forgot about that.
All right. Tanil89 for $2. Jonas doesn't like Mass Effect. Por qué no? I haven't played it since the 360 days. And I had
he's got a bunch of lame excuses. It's fine. He doesn't like it. It's okay. We've all
I'll send you a mod that makes it so much more interesting.
Okay. All right. I feel like I won't be able to play that
for the whatever trilogy, legendary trilogy edition, whatever. You can just don't do any of the fun scenes with the kids around.
I get it. The mom for $1.99. Hulk smash, passionate about gaming.
Thank you, the mom, and thank you for the cuteness you bring with your avatar to every stream.
Jacob Foxfires for $5. Why I hope the rumors of eShop staying long past the Switch's lifetime is true and can keep preservation up. Here's the thing that I'm really looking forward to with Nintendo right now. Please don't make us buy everything that we already have on digital from the Nintendo Switch to whatever the successor is.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So
can I say something about the Switch as far as preservation goes and going forward into the next console generation?
Yeah, go for it.
I just wanted to say, I think Nintendo is actually, I know a lot of people dog on the menu for the Nintendo Switch for being horribly basic and boring. But I will say, as someone who, whenever you boot up the Wii U, you just basically see a zombified corpse of online features that used to be prominently in front of you.
That's your fault for turning on a Wii U. What are you even doing?
Oh, I'm speaking theoretically, because I actually haven't turned on my Wii U in like 5 years. But
this is the first instance in history of telling a story of a person who does not exist.
But the crazy thing is, though, I like about the Switch here is because of that simplicity. the Switch is going to have a great lifespan ahead of it that's going to be evergreen, even when the Switch 2 comes out, because it had quality games. You go to the menu, and the first thing you don't think about is sad thoughts for just seeing a bunch of shut down servers. You're going to see a bunch of games that you probably bought or downloaded that's going to be there, and it's going to be like a mini time capsule, much like the GameCube was or prior systems.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Form.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate that about the cartridge stuff. I mean, physical stored games are the best. They just are.
Agreed. That's why I just bought the Lost Crown on physical for like $15. Yep.
Yeah, dude,
all right.
Okay.
He did it live. See, to all the haters who say we don't play video games.
We do it
did
live.
This is 2 days away from Brothership coming out. 2 days.
Also, I don't know, Culture, when are you going to edit that Alarmo unboxing?
You know what? I need to get on that. You're right. Yeah, I got to get that done. It's amazing.
Does that play the music from the app?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, dude, it wakes me up. Okay, it has this thing called sleepy sounds.
Bad. I don't know why.
it has this thing called sleepy sounds. So, like, if I get in bed, like around the time it thinks is my bedtime, whatever that is, 10, 11, whatever it is. So I put that up. I set it up, and the minute I walk across in the motion zone, it starts playing the sleepy sounds. So as I get into bed, it starts playing the like little twinkly sleepy sounds. And so like I'm knocked out. I'm like knocked out. I think it plays for like 5 minutes and I'm like, good night. It's like done. Dude. And then in the morning, right? It starts out real soft when it's playing the alarm at 5 a.m. It's just like a really chill, right? It's like, and then it starts to build up, and then the bomb guy on the chain, that big fella.
Chain chomp.
Yeah, I know. I just don't like to say that. Anyway, he starts to get involved, because if you don't get up, like he's like, ruh, 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 ruh. It's like bonker sauce, and like it just keeps getting louder, and the music gets more aggressive. And
does he threaten to play like the water temple music from like Legend of Zelda or something?
No, because what I usually do, like I give it like a wave, like I smack the top of it with, the little hat that's on the top, the alarm part, the bell. I bonk that, and then it'll go like back to like resetting to where the alarm normally starts. So it's much softer. And then eventually, usually by the second or third time he gets all growly, I get up. So, and then it plays celebration music. So great. Fantastic.
I love this.
I love how much joy this thing has put into your life. I just like that you light up when you talk about this alarm clock. So
it's cool. It brings me back to being a kid. Speaking of being a kid, we made it through the super dupers.
We did. It's not showing me any additional ones. Last one I've got on StreamYard right now, 3DS, Miiverse, and Spot Pass was the best. Yes, it was.
So I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up today. What a great stream. Thank you for the support. You guys really, the nickels, or your donation of quarters, whatever it is, we really appreciate it. It does actually help the channel considerably. It's going to make it so we have more videos coming out, because we're going to be getting more things edited. Speaking of which, we have the final totals. Jonas, are you ready for the tote board for the day?
Ooh.
That's right. It looks like we have Machini Draws as the gold supporter. T-Neil 89 is silver, and Jacob Foxfires 964 in bronze. So thank you very much today. These are our trophies at the finish line, and it looks like, because we're beginning of a new month, Machini will roll over into platinum until somebody can supplant him.
Who did not see that coming?
I don't know. But what a great stream, everybody. We truly appreciate you. We did not get through nearly as many stories as I had hoped, but that's oftentimes because you are so generous, which we appreciate. Be sure and check out all. Go ahead.
It's because we ranted about Mega Man again.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we actually did.
And I was on my best behavior. I stayed out of that one, so it doesn't go.
You did, Spencer. And you know what? You get the cookie today. Speaking of which, please support all these wonderful gentlemen here, and some that are missing, like Space Dave, and of course Marvin, who will be back next week. Check out Jonas J. Campbell over on That Park Place. Check out Stone Cold Loki on Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Check out Nolan Thunder on Nolan Thunder. He's covering lots of great stuff. Can't wait for his next video. And finally, last but not least, the editor-in-chief of Bounding Into Comics, Spencer Kabuto Rider Mav. Thank you, my friend. You're amazing. Check him out on the YouTube channel, too. Sometimes he does things over there, if it's not Cider. But anyway. All right, guys, we have come up on the 2-hour mark. Jonas, how do you want to take us out?
In song. Hold on a
Get
second.
out of here.
There's a place for us. Somewhere. A place. You do yours.
All right. Get your game on. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you one more time before we jump into the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed part of the story. What do you think that they could do to actually make this work? How could they improve here? Holy edit fest, Batman.